We love the story of the lone genius, the visionary founder struck by lightning in a garage, holding a brilliant, market-disrupting idea. But if you look at the organizations that survive for a century or more, that mythology usually shatters on impact. Building an entire company around a single, perfectly timed product creates a fragile structure. Markets pivot, consumer tastes evolve. When that original goldmine inevitably dries up, an organization built solely to mine it will collapse. This diagram reveals the actual mechanism at play. The true architects of legacy companies don't obsess over finding the ultimate product. They obsess over engineering a resilient, highly calibrated system, represented by these interlocking gears, that can reliably generate great ideas over and over again. The ultimate creation is the organization itself. You have to design an entity capable of sustaining its own heartbeat long after the original founder exits the stage. Anyone can look at the sun and tell the time for a crowd, but a true architect builds a clock. This transparent box illustrates the difference. A time teller relies on personal charisma and a single good idea, while a clock builder constructs an enduring, independent mechanism. Most management theory forces a false choice. Average companies operate under the tyranny of the or. They believe they must choose between driving hard profits or holding on to a higher purpose. Look at these red and blue puzzle pieces. They think a culture can be strictly disciplined or highly autonomous, but never both. Enduring institutions embrace the paradox. They lock those pieces together into an and state, holding two contradictory forces at maximum intensity. Greatness requires building an organizational structure strong enough to contain that massive internal tension without tearing its own gears apart. This graphic captures the heaviest tension a company has to manage. You have a massive iron anchor pulling in one direction and a high-speed rocket pulling in the other. You have to fiercely protect your foundational values while simultaneously driving ruthless forward momentum. The anchor is your core ideology. Notice the fixed red dot in the center of these circles. This represents a foundational reason for existing that goes beyond making money. It stays completely locked in place, even as your daily strategies and specific products drastically change. Opposing that anchor is a primal urge for progress. This is an internal, compulsive need to explore and invent. You cannot wait for a competitor or a shifting market to force your hand. The drive has to come from inside the house. If you only have the anchor, your company sinks into outdated irrelevance. If you only have the rocket, you spin out of control and lose your identity. You need the extreme pull of both. Maintaining that intense momentum requires heavy leverage. Setting safe, predictable targets with guaranteed returns does not provoke a company into moving forward. Instead, leaders use a big, hairy, audacious goal. This graph maps it perfectly. A true BHAG forces an organization up a steep incline into an uncomfortable zone with only a 50 to 70% probability of success. It requires a massive leap. In the 1960s, Boeing essentially bet the entire company on the 747. It was an aircraft of immense scale and cost. Failure would have bankrupted the organization. That is the exact level of daunting, existential pressure required to force extreme progress. Executing a massive goal requires zero friction. As demonstrated, a legendary culture operates like a strict red box. The blue arrows inside are perfectly aligned. The gray dots are ejected. If an individual doesn't fit the core ideology, the system removes them like a virus. This is the autonomy paradox. Absolute ideological control eliminates the need for micromanagement. When the core values are hard-coded into every employee, leadership can grant extreme operational freedom, knowing that individual actions will naturally reinforce the system. With that freedom, those autonomous teams act like a biological species trying to survive. They don't wait for a grand master plan. They initiate a massive volume of small, decentralized experiments, testing what works in the real world. Look at this chaotic tangle of red lines representing trial and error. Progress happens at this vertical white filter, the core values check. The organization ruthlessly prunes failed experiments, and only variations aligning with the core emerge on the other side. Surviving this constant evolutionary pressure requires a specific psychological state. You have to treat continuous self-improvement as a disciplined daily habit. It can never be a temporary management initiative that ends when quarters are good. You achieve long-term resilience by permanently institutionalizing discontent. The system must be designed so that it physically cannot rest on its past successes. Philosophical intentions mean nothing unless wired into the floorboards. Every gear, layout, processes, culture, strategy must mechanically link to the core. This means examining mundane details, how desks are arranged, promotion metrics, or new hire evaluations. Every operational mechanism must actively reinforce the ideology. Here is the ultimate operational rule. Look at the locked red padlock next to the blue recycling icon. Keep your core purpose completely sacred and untouched, but take your specific daily practices, your methods, and your current products, and constantly destroy and reinvent them. Prioritizing architectural resilience over short-term returns creates a self-sustaining entity. By engineering a system that outlives its founders and its original ideas, the organization transitions into an institution capable of enduring for generations.